Hey, it's Sasha Evdokov, and welcome to BackstageIncome.com, where I share with you how money is made behind the scenes in your business and also your life. So today, what I want to focus on is about outsourcing your book. So I know that you probably heard of outsourcing or heard about hiring people overseas, that it's typically a little bit cheaper than hiring in the US. And the fact is that is potentially true to some degree, but you have to remember that sometimes you get what you pay for. Now, if you're still looking to save yourself some time, maybe some energy about writing your book, then I'm going to share with you some insights about how to properly approach outsourcing or getting things done if you're looking to hire someone else to take care of the project. Now, when hiring someone overseas, you have to remember that typically their first language is probably not English. So if you're looking to have a book written in English, there's going to be some issues and mistakes going on within that book or that material. Also, not to mention the time difference. You have to coordinate and work together with this person, and the time difference can be a factor if you're not flexible on your time. Now, beyond all these other little details that come up in terms of coordinating and so forth, as you start digging deeper into the project, think about what it is you're going to assign them. Are you going to assign them the full book project, the initial first draft, the editing part of it? If it's the full book, or more importantly, you're looking to get the book part written, at least the first draft, and then you can tweak it and make it more your words and up to your business standards or your name standards. That way you can use it to market yourself, create a better image, connect with customers. You of course want it to sound and feel like yourself. Now, this can be a problem if you're hiring a ghostwriter or hiring someone else to take care of the project, because their words are probably not the same as your words or your feelings or your examples. So instead, the better approach to really hiring someone overseas is to figure out first which topic you want to focus on in writing your book. So if I told someone, hey, I just need a book about how to train your dog, what they could do is write a book about how to train your dog at the dinner table, how to train your dog on how to do tricks, how to train your dog to do a lot of different things. There's a lot of different things that you can teach a dog. And if I'm looking for a specific book on how to get your dog to be more disciplined through training, then they may not know or understand this because my focus is different than what I'm projecting. So communication is really important in the process. And because it's so important, there's a lot of gaps that happen in between that process, because the words that are coming out, someone else might misinterpret and think of things differently. And if you're trying to outsource a full book project, this can become really disastrous. So the better approach, if you're looking to outsource a full book, is to, number one, you need to know what it is your customers want in the material, because you already have a plan in mind what this book is going to be for. Is it going to be just to sell and get revenue, to build up future customers, or just to build your name up and credibility? So first, have this plan in mind, but you need to figure out what it is your customers want. And the best way to do that is already ask existing customers or people on your newsletter list. If you don't have any, go out and talk to them. Okay, go out in person, pick up the phone, call them, or speak to other people that could be interested in the product. So first thing you want to do is create a newsletter, send out that newsletter, and take them to a website that asks them maybe one or two simple questions. If you're interested in training your dog or teaching your dog something, what would it be? So if we're focused on building a book about dog training or dog discipline, then these are one or two questions that you may want to ask. And as people are filling in all these answers, you may start getting a lot of different replies, and you'll start seeing what is the biggest interest, what is the biggest question that you have about teaching your dog or training your dog. So again, they may have all these different struggles that they have when training and teaching their dog. So as you start getting all these questions, you start sorting things out and seeing which one has the highest response rate or which ones are similar. Start grouping them together. And out of maybe, let's say, 1,000 questions, you narrow it down to 150, 250 questions. And what you then do is figure out or find a writer, and you can either test them on a freelancing website and see which one actually can answer these questions in paragraph or article form. So you go ahead and maybe do a test with 2 questions with one person, 2 questions with another person, 2 questions with a third person, and 2 questions with a fourth person. Now you start getting a feel and idea as the results are coming in to see how their writing is, how the communication is, how quickly they write. Are they really interested and passionate about the subject? Is there a lot of errors? Do they match your style a little bit better? So after you test all these different people, you go ahead and make a deal with this person that you find most favorable to write out all the other questions in article form. Because now you went from just saying, hey, I want a book about dog training, to having targeted and specific questions or blog posts or headlines that need to be answered. And now you'll get, let's say, 30 or 50 articles all on this one subject, put them together, and then slowly you can edit them to make it your own, or add a little flair, or add your own examples to make it your own. So you'll start composing and putting it together after you get their initial results back. So that's maybe a better approach. Of course, you have to think about this way ahead when you're posting your piece in terms of hiring out a freelancer or hiring out someone to outsource. You have to keep them in mind that I'm looking for a bigger project, someone that can write, let's say, 50 articles or 100 long blog posts, and then you take them, you put them together and go that route. But you do have to make sure that all the agreements are in place in terms of they understand that you're going to be creating a book from it. You also have to make sure that the rights are also going to be yours, royalty rights and everything like that. So there's some other processes and things you have to account for. But in terms of putting together the process of outsourcing your book, this is the better approach in terms of doing it systematically. If you simply just want to outsource a full book and say, hey, I need a book about dog training, typically this doesn't work out very well because the chapters, the ideas, the concepts, and the things that you want to get your point across are not going to match your own personal feel, style, or business. So instead, hire someone and give them the questions that you need answered, and then later compose it into book form. Now, of course, you will have to make sure that you are transparent in terms of telling them that this is going to be a book, that you do want to keep your own royalty rights, you want to be the author of all these things. And as long as you are transparent about this in your job posting, it may be a little bit higher price because they won't get credit for it. But in the end, you'll get to keep all the royalty rights and everything else that goes along with the creation process. So that way, you just don't have any trouble in the future. So keep that in mind, but really, that is the better approach. So let me share with you some insight about going to the screen, about how to post this job posting and inviting specific applicants and who you're actually looking for when doing the posting or fulfilling the job. So let's go to the screen and let me share with you some more insight about getting this project and book outsourced the right way. All right, so here on this screen, you can see that we have a general website. And on this website, what we're doing is we're moving people from our targeted list, whether that's from our videos on YouTube, whether that's from our newsletter list. We're taking our targeted people and moving them to this website. It's typically people you already have a relationship with that you can trust, that have been your customers in the past, whether that's you're making phone calls or just sending them a digital message to come to this website. Now, in order to really figure out what is it that they want from your product, from your book, you need to ask them the question to figure out what is it that appeals to them. So in this example, you can see that at the top, I have a primary headline. What is the one thing that you wish your dog could do? Now, you could rotate this headline and randomly change it for different visitors of the website. And for example, every new visitor that shows up, they may get a different type of headline. If you could teach your dog one thing, what would it be? So again, you're sending a message or a headline through this primary medium. And then under that, you may have a video that describes what is it that you're looking to do. It may explain that you're looking to create and write a book, but you really want to get some feedback and some insight from your target customers, which is them, and get some insight about what are they struggling with to teach their dog about dog training, or whether it be stopping their dog from barking at the dinner table, or it could be, chasing cats. Now, right under that, I have a little blurb that says, "Hey, it's Sasha, and I wanted to thank you from being involved and watching my YouTube videos," or could be from being on the newsletter list, whatever message you're crafting in there. Now, this year, I decided to write a book on how to train your dog to do anything that you want. And basically, this little blurb or section is saying the same type of content that I would be saying in the video. In the video, I might explain things in a little more detail because people are more focused in. But in the writing, I'm just trying to be very concise and to the point of what the goal is. Now, of course, I do want to offer them something for their time. So, for example, if they help me out, you write a quick note on what it is that you want to teach your dog. As a thank you for filling out the form, I will send you the book for free when it is released. And right under there, I basically give them some examples to give them some insight or ideas about what is it that they may want to teach their dog. Now, again, if you want to randomly rotate this message, that also could be helpful. So that way you get a variety of responses. Right under there, I go ahead and say, well, once the book is released, tell me where you want it shipped. So they could go ahead and fill out a basic form in terms of getting that book. And then finally, a button that they can click. So in general, that's basically how you want the form to look. You want to make it as simple as possible, even if you just have them put in their email address, so that way you can reach out to them and tell them when the book is live. Some people do it that way. You could also charge them for just the shipping price. That way you're not taking on the burden of the shipping price. But if you're sending a digital book, then again, you don't have to worry about the shipping address. You only need to worry about the email address. Over time, you may get a bunch of different submissions about what is it that they really struggle with when training or teaching their dog, or things that they would love to teach their dog. And now this builds on a lot of questions that you could use and compile for the future, or to use in gathering more insight to building your book on. Now, what you'll find is after you gather a lot of the responses is you'll get a wide variety of answers from people. For example, I would really love it if my dog, Rocky, could be kinder to other dogs in the dog park. Is there a way to train him to be friendly around other dogs? Maybe you'll have people that write something like, every time we sit at the dinner table, our dog doesn't stop barking until she gets a piece of food. I know that it was my fault for giving it to her to keep her quiet, but it has become excessive to the point where I just want to kick her outside. Is there a way to stop her from barking at the dinner table? Or something like, I struggle with stopping my dog from rolling in the dirt or grass. How is it that I can prevent my dog from doing this and getting dirty all the time? So these might be a variety of questions that you'll get when you have that website form. Now, some of them you may want to decide that I just definitely don't want to address, because maybe if you're writing a book about tricks or dog tricks, then you probably don't care about this. But if you're writing a book more about disciplinary actions, then you'll probably want to tackle some of these issues. And you could probably break your chapters down into dogs associating with other animals. Another one could be about dog behavior or dog behavior at home. And another chapter could be the natural tendencies of what dogs do and how to prevent them from doing it. So this could be something like rolling around in the grass or dirt all the time and then bringing that dirt back into the house. Or maybe you could train them to do something else if it's a natural thing for them to do. For example, shake things off, and if you teach them how to shake, maybe that'll help get some of that dirt off of the dog. Now, once you have those submissions together, what you want to do is start grouping them and summarizing them and really condense them, so that way when you hire someone, they know exactly which articles or specific blog posts that you're looking to create. So for example, just something simple about a dog acting up at a dog park or how to be friendlier to other dogs, you can create multiple posts, blogs, chapters, headlines, all regarding to that one topic. So for example, you might say something like how to teach a dog to be kinder to other dogs, cats, and animals. Or you could create a headline saying, how to teach a dog to be friendly at a dog park, and then the tips and tricks to stop your dog from acting up at a dog park. Then there could be something regarding the different methods, 5 methods to have a well-behaved dog at the dog park. So all these things really could be condensed into sub-headlines or sub-chapters within a chapter. So these could be the different paragraphs. It could be tips and techniques, methods. It could be some of the tools or equipment you use to train your dog at the dog park. There's a lot of things that you could go ahead and create a chapter around. But really, you're creating 4 different articles to create a chapter. And that's really what you're submitting to your freelancer or to the person writing. So that way they know specifically what is it that you're looking to write about. And then later what you could do is put it together and, make it seem a little bit more streamlined or seamless. Now, this is, of course, meaning you're looking to outsource your book and you're not really driving yourself as the expertise. You're looking to build a business. But of course, if you're the expert, you would probably want to write this book yourself. But if you're looking to outsource, this is the better approach. And for example, as you start getting into other chapters, what you want to do is, again, create multiple questions in order to build out that chapter. You can create multiple articles that will create that chapter. So for example, if we're talking about the dinner table and how to get your dog to be more quiet, you could say something like, get your dog to stop barking at the dinner table in 5 minutes. So this could be one article or one part of the chapter. And then another part of the chapter could be tips and tricks on how to get your dog to be quiet at the dinner table. And as you start putting these things together, you could really put it under one main chapter. But ideally, your goal is to figure out what sections or subsections you want in your chapters within your book. Now, the next step is to post your job. And the way that you go ahead and post your job is you can do it on multiple websites such as freelancer.com, which you can see is you post your job into the category, and you can choose a category that you want to go into, such as writing. And then as you get into writing, you can see that there's even write a book, write some articles. Really up to you how you want to go about this part. If you're looking to maybe outsource multiple people to write your articles and then you'll compile it into a book and make edits, then you might just do some articles. If you're doing a book, then you go ahead and post writing a book. But again, I wouldn't fully give someone a full project till I see the quality of their work. Typically what I'll do is outsource maybe 3 or 4 different people and see how well they do things. And then I'll go ahead and evaluate it and then pass off the project. Now, for me personally, I like writing my own books. So I go ahead and speak it, and then maybe I'll get a transcriptionist, or I'll go ahead and have Dragon automatically dictate it. So that's typically the process for me. But in terms of the hiring process that I go through for anyone, it's no different than doing this. So it's all about getting that one person and finding them what works. And typically it takes 3 to 5 people until you may find someone that actually you like and can build a relationship with. It's about finding that relationship balance. So you can go ahead and go through this website and either post a job here, and you can also go to another website such as Upwork.com, which is also another way to, post a job. Now, some of these job websites do take a fee or a commission when you're posting a job, and other job sites, it's free for you, but it's more expensive for the people doing the work for you. So there's fees added in their pay. So you have to kind of look up and see what the pay scale is. Currently, Upwork, I know, is free to hire people. But if you're looking to give your services, then they do take a little cut, similar to how Visa and MasterCard take a transaction fee. So for our example, what I'm going to do is share this with you through Upwork. So we might go through writing, and then after writing, we might choose article and blog writing, or it could be creative writing. So either way, we'll just stick with article and blog writing. And then what we may do is give our job name a title. So writer needed, multiple articles to create an ebook about dog training. So once I have this down, what I may do is go ahead and describe the work that I need done. So here I've written a short little description about the project. I've just tried to be as detailed as possible so that way expectations are clear. And basically what I did was I said, I'm looking for someone to write multiple long-form articles about 1,000 to 5,000 words, specifically about dog training techniques, methods, and strategies. Some of the article topics include the following, and these are the ones that we discussed earlier. My goal is to hire 3 to 5 people and build on the relationship for the future. As a test project, we will start with 2 articles from the above list of topics, and if you are chosen, then we will continue with 50 other articles and topics to build out an ebook about dog training. Now, please note that I'm looking to complete 50 articles, which we will turn into a book within 3 months. So there I'm giving a specific deadline or time frame of what I'm looking to do, so the expectations are clear that this is for a long-term project. Now, if you have Skype or Prompt in your deadlines and you pay attention to detail while researching, and you have a fluid creative writing style, then this job might be for you. On the other hand, if you struggle with deadlines, are typically late to having lunch with your friends, or miss commas and periods, it is better if you pass on this job. So I'm trying to eliminate people there from applying. I'm trying to get specific candidates. Then I write, if you think this job would be a good fit for you, we will start with 2 articles per candidate for the first 3 weeks, and then we will choose a final candidate to finish out the 50 articles. Again, I'm re-emphasizing the process so they understand this is kind of a test project, because what I don't want to do is hire someone for 50 articles or a whole book, and then all of a sudden I'm getting bad results and not the writing style that I expected. Please note all royalty rights will be retained by us and no credit will be given to the writer in the ebook. A contract will be given to you to sign prior to starting the project. So again, I want to make sure expectations are clear and they understand what's going on and what's happening. I am looking forward to hearing from dedicated and punctual people. Again, trying to filter out other people that I don't want. So as we continue to scroll down here now, you can start filling out the application and you can say article writing, you can say ebook writing. There's a lot of different skill sets and things that you can go ahead and add to these key items. And this just helps narrow down the search for the people. And of course, you can now determine if you want to pay a fixed price for the project or hourly. Typically, I would do a fixed price for the project because I want to know exactly how much the project is going to cost. So to do 2 articles, you just want them to bid on a fixed price. And depending on what type of expertise you're looking for, that's what you want to select. If you want to do entry level, intermediate, your budget, end date, the number of hires, if you want to hire more people. Again, you want to go ahead and do all this and fill out these details and then go ahead and post your job. Now, if you're looking for freelancers, once your job is already posted, you could invite freelancers or you could go out and search for people to do the job for you. So for example, you could just go ahead and search for something here, such as ebook writer, and then go ahead and hit search. And you'll notice you'll get a lot of different candidates. So here, as we look through the candidates, you can see that there's different ways to filter them, but you get a lot of different results. So you get to see their hourly rate, you get to see what they do, or their headline: blogger, ebook writer, article writer. Here's a writer. This is an agency contractor, so they manage other people. Ebook expert typesetter. Here's a blogger, ebook writer, self-development expert at $25 an hour. So there's a lot of different people out there. Now, typically, you'll notice that the US, the UK, and people in the US typically charge more for the service just because of the currency, the exchange rate, the value, the language. It's just more expensive. If you get someone from a different country, for example, let's take a look at Spain over here. You might get something for $27 an hour, whereas the United States could be $70 an hour. So there's going to be different rates, and you'll notice that these rates really change from country to country. Now, if you're looking for price specific, what you could do is entry level, and you could do entry level people and then later compose it yourself if you're looking for cheaper people. So here you can see that there's an expert recipe ebook writer for $6 an hour, and they're from India. Now, here's another one from Pakistan for $12 an hour, or from Kenya for $5 an hour. So there's a lot of different writers out there that will charge you a lot less in terms of price. However, keep in mind that the language or the skill set may not be English. So their primary language may not be English, and then you really have some problems when you're getting your book. Now, of course, this isn't always the case, and especially if you're editing your book and you're doing changes to your book, then that's probably not a problem if you need them to do more research and things like that. But if you're looking for, really precise grammar, then you might want to choose an English-based speaker who has English as their primary language. Now, the other approach to doing this is, let's just say you go ahead and you want to go and do someone like this. Now, you'll notice that they have 19 jobs that they've worked, and they're pretty quick with the response time, and the English is fluent. So that doesn't mean you can't find an English speaker, but primarily or mostly their English is probably not the primary language. Now, what you're looking for here and what you could do is, if this person looks great, which their feedback looks pretty good, and if you're interested in hiring them, what you could do is hire them now and invite them to your job that you posted. And now what you could do is save money on the initial drafts and get people that are a little bit cheaper to do your initial draft. And then when you're ready to hire a book proofreader or editor, you could get someone a little more professional. Even though this one's from the Philippines, they have a really good job success rate. So that might be great, but again, you might want to choose someone from the United States. So even though this one here is Nigeria, $28, again, you may want to choose someone from the United States. So here we go, we found one, writer, editor, proofreader. So whereas I paid $5 per hour to get that book written or the initial articles written, then I may pay an article proofer or an editor to go ahead and finalize and proof my book, because that also takes a bit of time, and you're saving some money by getting the initial stuff outsourced for a cheaper rate, and now you're charging someone more premium rate to get the things reviewed and finally compose it and put things together. Because remember, when you're running a business, it's all about costs and the product, the marketing. There's a lot of components that you have to deal with. And if you're looking to save some costs, you have to know and understand where your costs are going into. So in either case, this is the way that I would approach writing a book if you're looking to outsource the book. Now, as a disclaimer, I personally still have not fully outsourced a book. Now, I've outsourced a lot of other things and article conversions from my videos, but the process is still the same. You want to take it as a step-by-step process rather than digging deep right away and throwing everything into one person. Because I will tell you that more often than not, hiring 3 or 4 people, you will get a wide variety or a huge mix of results. And that's really where the problem lies, is because you're not finding someone that's compatible with you. It's similar to being in a relationship, finding someone you're in a compatible relationship with. Those things just take time. And unless you're one of the few lucky ones that found your high school sweetheart, when you were 16, 18 years old, most of the time, you're going to take a little bit of time to get to know people, to figure things out, to figure out what you like, what you don't like, and figure out the people that you work well with. This includes your friends. So the same thing here, if you look at the ebook, and I'm just searching for ebook in all the jobs that are posted, you will see that there's a wide variety of jobs, and there's different things that people are looking to get other people to do. So add visuals to an existing ebook. So this person already has an ebook and they're looking for someone to add some visuals or pictures or sketches. So they're looking for a designer. So it's a step-by-step process. So if you have a book that's more design-oriented and needs and requires more pictures, then you're going to need someone to create that. And typically a writer won't be able to do that. You'll probably need a designer, and that's why there's someone posting in the designer area. Here's one that's looking to create a new ebook in the health and disease niche, and they're looking to spend about $600. And they say they want the ebook to be 8,000 to 10,000 words in count. So for me, I like my books more in detail. If you're looking for something, 8,000 to 10,000 words, then you want to specify what you're looking to do.
Typically ebooks are a lot shorter for, they're under 100 pages. Some are a lot longer. For me, my books typically average about 200 pages, 240 pages. So I typically write more longer content and more in-depth content because I really want to tackle the specific subject in great detail. Then what you may want to do is someone to do some promotions. So again, there's different things that you might need to do in order to create your book, in order to hire people. But if you're looking for something simple, something like a writer wanted for a clean eating recipe book, and you're looking for something that's just very short, then yeah, you might be able to outsource that very quickly to someone, and you're looking for something very simple. But if you're looking for something very in-depth, something that's, huge book with 300-400 pages, then you may want to outsource it in bits and pieces to see who's the best candidate and then give it to that person to do the rest of the project, because you don't want to have a huge failure from the start. Instead, break it up into stages.
All right, so there you go. I hope you found a lot of those tips and insights helpful about how to properly outsource your book, whether you're outsourcing overseas or just to someone else to take care of it. Remember, it's not going to be an easy process, but what you don't want to do is have an end product or result and spend thousands of dollars in that it doesn't sound similar, it's not what you wanted, and the writing is just horrible. So instead, take this approach, start it out with questions, give it to a few different people, figure out who's the best candidate, sift through those, and then go ahead and give them a larger project. But always make sure that you're transparent in what you're doing and have the legal forms or the documents that are ensured that you are going to convert it into a book and you are looking to make revenue from it. So that way you don't get into legal trouble from the ghostwriter or from the person that you're hiring. Thanks again for joining me. And if you want to see some other great business training videos, then you can go ahead and check out the rest of the website on BackstageIncome.com. If you're not on the website, then click this link right here. And when you get there, you can take a look at the website and check out all the other mini courses that we have available. And you can also leave your name and email address when you're there. And that way we send out free goodies, free courses, and free little promotions when they are released. But if you just want to hang out on YouTube, click one of the thumbnails below this video and you can continue watching some of the other free trainings on YouTube. Thanks again for joining me. Remember to do what you love, contribute to others, but most importantly, live life abundantly.